What's happening, everybody? Welcome to another episode here of the Side Guys Football Forum. Back on YouTube. It's been a while for us. I think the last YouTube video that we did was the live stream after the free agency fallout. We covered a whole mess of topics there. It was about an hour and a half. It was good times there. But yeah, it's been a bit of a dry spell for us, Tad, here.
Remember how innocent we were back then? Davante Adams was still a Packer.
Yeah.
I believe, was Russell Wilson still a Seahawk then, or was that after
we discussed
the Russell
that
Wilson
trade. We discussed that trade on
All right,
the
there we
episode,
go.
yeah.
Yeah. Matt Ryan was still a Falcon. I mean, it was just like, shit went down this offseason.
And the one constant, Jimmy Garoppolo is still on the Niners.
And Baker Mayfield is still Brown.
Yeah. But yeah, we got some fun stuff to talk about in today's episode based on the banner that you see there, 2022 double draft double dips. Man, I messed it up. Too many D's there.
I was about to say, the alliteration really got you there.
Yeah, it did. It did. So if you listen to our last podcast episode, we started to talk some NFL draft strategy. We covered teams without a first-round pick, but this is the opposite. So now we're talking about 8 teams that have 2 first-round picks in the upcoming draft, which is happening. Tad, this is crazy to say. The draft is next week.
Christmas is here, baby. It's here. This is Christmas Eve. We got a lot of stuff in the pipeline. I am loving it.
It is wild. That is only a week away. A week and some change. I think it's 9 days, I think, as of recording for this episode.
You're asking me to do math?
It's still
that.
next week. That's the simple thing. You don't even have to worry about that. It's next week. That's the wildness that is how fast time has flown. But yeah, so we wanted to cover the teams with multiple first-round picks, just a couple different directions as far as where these teams can go as far as their draft picks are concerned to help hopefully make their team a little better heading into 2022. Because yeah, this offseason has been wild. There's a lot of teams that were not competitive. They're going to be competitive now. There are teams that were competitive. They're not competitive now. So it's like there's a whole landscape change, and the draft is definitely going to play into that picture as well. So yeah, teams definitely need to use the draft to their advantage to stay competitive heading into the 2022 season. So Tad, we're going to pass things off to you here first. We split up all 8 teams, 4 for each of us, and you're going to start us off with the team picking at number 2 and number 32, and that's the Detroit Lions. So take it away, buddy.
So I don't know if this is the approach you took with it, but this is the approach I went with my selections. This entire episode was what the teams will do compared to what they should do. So with the number 2 overall pick, I have the Detroit Lions taking Trayvon Walker, the defensive end / defensive tackle out of Georgia. I think Aiden Hutchinson is going to be...
We just got fancy with some graphics here.
Yeah, oh, look at that. Yeah, we're getting professional up in here. Please don't sue us, Detroit. So, look, am I the biggest fan of Trayvon Walker? No. We discussed this on the podcast in the past. I really don't understand why he's getting this top 3 hype. But, it seems to be sticking. I thought that was kind of a, it's the offseason, we're kind of bored, let's hype up this random player, but teams apparently like him. So I think that with Aiden Hutchinson and my projection going first overall, Trayvon Walker is going to be the next one because for some reason reports are that Dan Campbell doesn't really like Kayvon Thibodeau. He said, quote, he doesn't fit in the culture, which apparently means he likes winning. Whatever. Dan Campbell's an idiot. So Kayvon Thibodeau, I'd be shocked if that was the pick here. I think it should be the pick here because here's the deal. I like Trayvon Walker a lot, but I see him as a good NFL player, not a great one. So that's why I like him as a first-round pick. I don't like him as a top 3 pick. I see Kayvon Thibodeau as a potential superstar in the NFL. So I say go for the home run there. Like, yes, you could miss out big. Kayvon Thibodeau definitely has bigger bust potential than Walker, but he also has bigger boom potential. So should this be Thibodeau? Absolutely. It won't be. It's going to be Walker if Hutchinson goes first overall. So I have them going Trayvon Walker number 2, whatever. We'll move on from that. Here's an interesting one. This is actually probably my favorite draft darling of this year's draft. Christian Watson. I love this guy. He is the next best thing. He's this year's Deebo Samuel. He can be a running back. He can be, a jet sweep receiver. He is the Swiss Army knife in this year's draft. So I know a lot of people have the Lions taking a quarterback at 32. And real quick, I got to repeat this joke. This is the only time in our lifetimes that the Lions are going to be picking at 32, right?
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Dad. But honestly, it's crazy because I could see a Desmond Ritter. I've seen some mocks that have like Kenny Pickett going here. Pickett's gonna be gone by now. My whole thing is I think all the quarterbacks worth taking at this point, except for maybe Carson Strong, are going to be gone at this point at 32. So they're going to stick with Jared Goff for another year, and why not give him another weapon? The Tyrell Williams experiment failed miserably. The Brashad Perryman, people forgot that they signed him last preseason. They cut him before the season even started. So Amon-Ra St. Brown, did I get that right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, those acronyms always scare the crap out of me. Not acronyms, sorry, hyphens. Those hyphens always scare the crap out of me. He worked out great, right? But keep surrounding with weapons. You got Hawkinson, you got St. Brown, throw in Watson, and with Swift and Jamal Williams, that's a very solid offense no matter who your quarterback is. So I think that if Christian Watson's there at 32, that's what they're going to go with. But with that said, if a Desmond Ritter, Kenny Pickett, maybe Carson Strong, if he's there, if one of those guys is there, I think they will take him. But I just think all those guys are going to be gone at that point.
Yeah, it's a fair assumption to make. I think at the time that the Lions are on the clock again at number 32, probably some of those top-level quarterbacks are gone, like your Malik Willis, your Kenny Pickett, maybe your Desmond Ritter as well. So maybe you could look into Matt Corral, but yeah, I think getting a higher upside receiver like Christian Watson is better.
I think even Corral's going to be gone at that point. I really do.
It's possible. But yeah, I think going the option with the higher level receiver to pair up with Amon-Ra St. Brown, like you said, I think that's the better option at number 32. The thing with Trayvon Walker is that I'm hearing a lot of talk that the Jaguars are seriously considering him at number 1 because
I hope so.
likes the
God,
inside.
Make that happen. Will that into existence.
It would be totally the Jaguars doing Jaguars things and taking Trayvon Walker, who maybe it'll pan out. I have no idea, but it's just,
again,
if
good,
that
not
happens,
great.
then
I'm not saying
Aiden
he's going to be a
Hutchinson's
bust.
pick at number
but
2.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's going to be a bust, but like I just don't understand this top 3 hype. I really don't.
It is interesting. But yeah, I think an edge rusher or pass rush is definitely the move at number 2, whether it's Trayvon Walker, whether that's Aiden Hutchinson, or possibly Kayvon Thibodeau. I think those are your solid options at number 2. So Trayvon Walker, I'm not in love with it, but I do understand it, and I think it's a good fit. So moving into my team, I got the team picking at number 3 and number 13, and that's the Houston Texans. Tad, they could probably pick anybody, and it'll fill a need for them now.
They have more holes in the roster than Swiss cheese.
100% accurate. So they need help across the entire board on both offense and defense. I think probably what I could see happening is probably a trade down from either 3 or 13 to acquire a couple more draft capital. Like you said, there may be some teams that prize some of those quarterbacks, your Pickett, your Willis, your Desmond Ritter, possibly, depending on how things shape up in the top 10. So we could see a team that wants to trade up, and Houston Texans could be a team that would be willing to trade down to accumulate more draft capital because they have so many needs on their roster right now, literally filling all the holes that they sort of have there. So you can see teams like Atlanta, Seattle, Pittsburgh, New Orleans possibly making a move to jump into the top 10 or at number 13 with Houston. But for the purposes of this exercise, we decided no trades. We're just going to stick with the picks that were given to us. So hey, let's move into a next fancy graphic here. And this reveals my picks here. So at number 3, I think, they're looking to stick with Davis Mills for at least another year as a stopgap, possibly look at the quarterback market in the following offseason. So you got to anchor that offensive line a little bit more. I know they have Laramie Tunsil, but there is talk that they may decide to move him. But regardless, even if you keep him on the roster, you need another good tackle. That offensive line was not the greatest last year. So bringing a guy like Ike Ekwonu from North Carolina State, I think he'll just instant starter for you guys, and instant protection as well. Either put him on the left side and you got Tunsil on the right side, leave Tunsil on the left side, put him on the right side. Ekam's got, versatility. You can put him inside as well if you need a guard or center play possibly, but he's probably better suited for the offensive tackle position. So either way, day 1 starter for your offensive line, instant upgrade as well. Now, got to upgrade that defense as well. So looking at number 13, this is one of the guys that a lot of people are seeing rising up their boards just with the draft offseason that he had. Lots of just, insane performances at his pro day, at the scouting combine. The tape is looking really good. This is an early riser, and I think he's really going to live up to that at the NFL level. Jermaine Johnson, the Florida State edge rusher. Adding him to the defense, they lack any sort of pass rush ever since J.J. Watt's gone. Whitney Merciless was gone a long time ago. They definitely need some help getting to the quarterback. Jermaine Johnson, I think, is an easy pick for the edge rusher there to help them give a good, solid piece for both the offensive line and the pass rush on defense. So definitely still got a lot of moves to make, and they could possibly look at the defensive back position, possibly into Derek Stingley Jr., depending on how that top 10 plays out. If he's still there, he could be worthy of a consideration. Possibly, I'm hearing Kayvon Thibodeau might slide out of the top 10, depending on how the offensive line class goes.
Boards, man.
Yeah,
he is. I'm gonna be fascinated to see where he goes.
It's gonna be really interesting because that whole top 10.
He could be a Charger
fluid
at this point.
I don't know if he'll fall that far, but just based on how people value the offensive line and possibly those quarterbacks like we talked about, we could see a guy like Kayvon Thibodeau slide. Same thing with guys like Kyle Hamilton, Jermaine Johnson as well, that could slide there. But for this purposes of this exercise as mentioned, I got Ikem Ekwonu at number 3 and Jermaine Johnson at number 13.
So the icky pick I like, it's the Texans, obviously. I like it, but I hate it at the same time. It really goes down to who you like more, Evan Neal or Icky.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like Evan Neal more, so I would take him, but it's just, that's personal preference at that point. But if they do say put number 3, absolutely 100% this should be an offensive line pick because this is such a deep offensive line class, or good offensive line class. I shouldn't say deep. That absolutely should be the pick. I like the fit for the need, if that makes sense, with Jermaine Johnson. I'm just not that big of a Jermaine Johnson fan. This is my favorite part of the draft is I can sit in my living room as I'm eating Doritos and be like, this guy is not a good athlete, and just it's fine until he comes and kills me. But Jermaine Johnson just reeks to me as a guy. It's a guy that we brought up, I believe, last episode, Aaron Curry, where I think he's just such a good athlete that's why he looks good. And then when he gets to the NFL, I'm not going to say he's a bust, but I don't see Jermaine Johnson being that good. But they still need a pass rusher. So I like the fit of, them taking a pass rusher. I just don't like the pass rusher you picked for them. Actually, I do. I love it, but,
Fair enough. Understood. All right, so Tad, let's get into, now we have both New York teams, so we split those up. So you're covering the Jets first, and then I'll cover the Giants. So why don't you get into it with the Jets a little bit here?
The city's so good, they are picking twice.
In the top 10, let alone that too.
God, come on, man. You are the best city in the country. Whatever. But anyway, so the New York Jets were tough, right? Because clearly I'm a fan of Kayvon Thibodeau. So again, I had to go with what the team is going to do, not what they should do. So I was holding off on this hype as much as I could, but I'm finally buying into it. I really do believe at number 4, the New York Jets are going to take Ahmad Sauce Gardner. First off, best nickname in the draft, bar none.
It is a pretty solid one.
It's a great nickname. So, look, I think they should go Thibodeau? Absolutely. It's just, again, kind of like what we talked about. For whatever reason, I've seen him as high as 2. I've seen him as low as 15. I have no idea where this guy's going to go. I love to act like the expert and be like, oh, no, he's going to go to this team there. Legitimately, he could slip into the 20s and really would not shock me that much. Who he reminds me of, actually? I know we're getting kind of on a sidetrack here. Derwin James.
Kayvon Thibodeau reminds you of Derwin James?
Not in terms of play style, but in terms of a very talented player who just slips for no good reason.
Okay.
I don't know where you had him ranked, but that year, I think, what was it, 2017? Whatever. The mid-2010s is I had Derwin James as a top 10 pick that year. And he just kept sliding. And I was like, I can't believe this is happening. But just for whatever reason, he kept sliding. And if he had stayed healthy, the Chargers would have hit an absolute home run with that pick. Some people would argue they still did. Because when he's healthy, he's one of the top safeties in the league. and he slipped to what, 18 or something like that? Like
somewhere in the mids, yeah.
So I could see Thibodeau taking that kind of fall. So anyway, Gardner's a very, very good pick there too. Maybe a little early, but screw it. If you like him and he feels the need, reach a little bit. Nothing wrong with that. So you get a potential shutdown corner at number 4. Number 10, it's going to be a receiver. I don't know if it's going to be Wilson. I don't know if it's going to be Olave. I don't know if it's going to be London. It's going to be a receiver. Guarantee you that. They went after Tyreek Hill. He said no. Can't really blame him. They're apparently going after DK Metcalf. Who knows if that's going to work out? From all reports, the Seahawks are holding on to him, which, whatever. So they recognize their need for a big, sizable receiver outside Braxton Berrios. Nothing against Braxton Berrios. He's a very good receiver. And Elijah Moore, is that the name of the Ole Miss guy?
Elijah Moore. They got Denzel Mims. They got Corey Davis. So,
Corey Davis is an interesting one.
After your take, we'll get into this a little bit.
Well, okay, Corey Davis is an interesting one because he had some size. But other than Corey Davis, that's what they're missing is some size. So they need to get some size out there. So again, Olave, not the biggest guy. Wilson, same deal, but it's something different, right? They're not these small speedster slot guys. So they recognize the need for an outside receiver. So I don't care. I highly doubt the Jets care. Whoever is there at 10, they are taking a receiver there. I am willing to bet money on that.
Yeah, I see both mock drafts taking, a receiver in the top 10 there for the Jets, but for me, I feel like they have other pressing needs that are higher than receiver. Like, I can understand.
Yeah, of course they do. They're the Jets.
I know. So that's why I don't think that they will waste a top 10 pick on a receiver. I think they need to go a different direction. possibly go another secondary route. So maybe they get 2 rookie secondaries, Alwan Gardner, Derek Stingley Jr. That's a possibility. Maybe they go defensive line.
Yeah,
maybe
you got to defend yourself against Tua. That's a real threat.
They have to defend themselves against Josh Allen.
Okay, whatever. So you got Mac Jones, Tua, whatever.
Maybe they address the offensive line. I think the interior offensive line could use some help too. But it's just like, I understand why they would go receiver, but just for me, I'm thinking they're going to go in a different direction. And this sort of like the mock is just sort of where everybody's going. But I think they're going to go somewhere else. Maybe have another pick on the defense. Alwan Gardner, I projected this with our top 10 pick a while back. I think he's going to be a lock at number 4. So I think that's a very excellent pick there. I think that's definitely going to happen. But the receiver route, like if they go receiver, I do think Garrett Wilson will probably be the pick or the other Ohio State receiver, Chris Olave. But yeah, I just don't see the receiver at number 10. But that's just me. Like I said, that's just my opinion.
So here's the deal with the rookie salary cap, though, is you need to find out pretty quickly if you have a quarterback or not. That's what the Dolphins are doing, right? They literally are throwing everything in this offense and going, okay, Tua, if you don't have your shit together this year, we're done. Like, I promise you that's what's going to happen next offseason if the Dolphins end up sucking. Why shouldn't the Jets do that with Zach Wilson? Shove all these weapons his way, draft the guy at number 10, be like, look, we got you all these receivers. We are good to go. If you cannot do anything, because, look, I was a Zach Wilson defender. I still am. I am still a believer in Zach Wilson. That is a statement that's going to come back and haunt me. But that's what the Jets need to do, is just give him all the weapons this year, figure out if he's the real deal. If not, look at the quarterback class next year. So why I get what you're saying. Yes, they could double dip at secondary, and I wouldn't hate it. But at the same time, you got to give Zach Wilson as much support as you can to figure out if he's the real deal.
Makes sense. But yeah, just for me, gut feeling, I don't think they're going to go receiver at 10. But
right,
we'll see what happens. Like I said, this is happening next week. Where all these things will be solved and put into place next week. Let's address the other New York team here, Tad. I'm going to cover the Giants for us. So I talked about this before, but the Giants surprisingly have a pretty good defense. It's not the greatest, but the problem was just their offense was just so Charles Barkley terrible that
just
it made
terrible.
Just terrible. It made the defense just look that much worse. So I know they're going to probably make some decisions. Obviously, they had to get
what's worse, the Giants offense or our Charles Barkley impersonations?
I don't think it's that bad.
I think it's a wash.
But yeah, I think, they've made some cost-cutting moves with new GM Joe Schoen in there, to make some moves. They restructured Blake Martinez. They're possibly going to cut James Bradbury. They're looking to trade Logan Ryan. So it's like, I think they're going to have to make some adjustments in that defense, the secondary. So I think with that first pick at number 5, you think they go secondary, but I'm actually going to go on the other side because they definitely need help on that offensive line to protect, God, what's the name of the guy that I'm blanking on?
I'm not going to give
now.
it to you. He went to Duke.
Daniel Jones.
There it is. Danny Dimes, baby.
He's
Come
so
on.
forgettable that I forgot him. That's what it is.
Is there a worse nickname than Danny Dimes? Like, that was born out of one good play he had.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. But regardless, they're going to go with Daniel Jones for another year here, see what he's got, and they definitely need to protect him. They obviously need to make some adjustments on the offensive line. So at number 5, I got them taking Evan Neal. So depending on, kind of like you said this earlier with the Houston Texans, it's, whoever you prefer, whether it's Ike Mekwonu, whether it's Evan Neal, whoever's left over from there, I think the Giants are going to take the leftover piece there, and they'll be perfectly fine with that because both are really highly prized offensive linemen in this year's draft. I think he's going to be an excellent addition, protect Daniel Jones the best that he can. Hopefully this will make a difference to the Giants' offensive line, especially with Saquon Barkley struggling as well. This could hopefully make him get back on track and hopefully reach his promising career that he once started with his rookie year. So we'll see about that. But yeah, number 5, I think
we're going with promising.
He looked really good his rookie year, and it looked like he was on an upward trend, and then the injuries just totally derailed him. So, and, he was healthy all of last year, but just the offensive line didn't help him at all. I think play calling hurt him too, but just, yeah. So, yeah, offensive line, definitely a pick number 5 with Evan Neal, Ike Mekwonu. I think one of those guys is going to go here. And number 7, this is where I'm saying they need to upgrade the secondary. I haven't seen a lot of people mock this, but I can see this being a legitimate pick here. That's Kyle Hamilton, the safety out of Notre Dame at number 7. Like, I think with some of the some of the adjustments that they're making to the defense, like I said, with the cost-cutting moves, some restructuring, things like that, they'll need to upgrade that secondary or bring up some more, lower cost options, but still have high value. That's exactly what Kyle Hamilton is coming in as a rookie. Like, I think he's going to be an instant starter. He's going to be able to cover the back end of that defense with Xavier McKinney, former Alabama prospect, really high prospect there. So it's like they'd have a really good safety duo then. You pair that up with, they have Tay Gowan, former UCF prospect. There's
is
Thomas
Jabril
there.
Peppers still there?
Jabril Peppers is not there. He signed with the Patriots. Remember I texted you that? And I was like, this is such a Patriots move?
No, because that was such a Patriots move. I was like, damn it.
Yeah, exactly. So you bring in a guy like Kyle Hamilton, I think that really gives you, like I said, a low-cost move, but you still have high value with Kyle Hamilton back there. Gives that secondary a really good beef up there. So at number 5, I got Evan Neal. Number 7, I got Kyle Hamilton.
I mean, not much to add to this. Exactly like what you said. Evan Neal, Ike, whichever one. That should be the pick at number 5 because Andrew Thomas, shocker, is not working out. And then Nate Solder on the other tackle. Hey, give credit where credit is due. Andrew Thomas is coming into his own. It's looking like, okay, maybe he will pan out after all. Nate Solder's 34, 35. Yeah. So you need to find a successor for him right away because he's not that good anymore. Nope. So, yeah, either one of those tackles there at 5, great. And then, yeah, if you get Kyle Hamilton at 7, whew, that was like an A++ just right off the bat for the Giants.
Weird to say A++ and Giants in the same sentence, right?
I know, right? It's weird. I haven't said that since 2010.
Oh, man. All right, so that's 4 teams done. We're going to get into the second half of the other 4 teams that we have here. We're going to get into the Saints and the Eagles that actually had some trades between them. So we had a little bit of an interesting take with our Eagles and Saints here, Tad. So you're going to cover the Saints first. Who do you have them taking at both picks there?
So with the Saints, I had them with their first pick taking Charles Cross, the tackle out of Mississippi State. Teron Armstead is now in Miami, again, throwing Tua all the tools to succeed. They need a tackle. It's that simple. Amir, I will give you $5 if you can name the Saints' current starting left tackle.
Left tackle, yeah, no way I can get
that because you got Ramczyk. I know you get
Ramczyk. I probably would have given you Cesar Ruiz, the center, but it's like, yeah, anybody else, I'm out.
James Hurst.
James Hurst, I've heard of. I've heard of.
That's more than I can say. I've never heard of him. So,
but it's still sketchy.
Yeah, they need a tackle. So Charles Cross, honestly, any other year where the offensive line or offensive tackle class is not this deep, he would be a top 10 pick. So if they get him at 16, absolute steal. And they probably
once again,
will.
Tad, I kind of want to bring this back to what I was saying earlier, that depending on how the board plays out, some teams may value the offensive tackles and the offensive line a little bit higher. So we may see Charles Cross go a lot higher than 16 where you have them projected. So like I said, it's like, even though it's a deep class, like, some teams may still value him because he has such skill, even with such a deep class, and he may go a little bit higher too. So it's like we may see other guys slide, kind of like we were mentioning earlier. But yeah, at 16, if he's there, excellent pick by the Saints.
I will tell you what, if Charles Cross goes to, let's say, Carolina, I would have the shocked face, but like after thinking on it for a bit, it really wouldn't shock me that much. Like he could go top 10, and I would be like, yeah, no, that's a fair pick. Like that,
Yeah.
maybe valued depending on which team takes him. That might be a little weird, but in terms of placement of like, oh no, we valued him as a top 10 pick, I'm not going to argue against that.
Yeah. Yep.
And then this one was a little tough. Pick number 19, because I should say this. I don't think the Saints are going to package these picks to trade up. I think they purposely made this move because they recognize we're like $40 million under the cap or over the cap, and we have so many
that's happened
holes.
The past couple of seasons too. Like
They
they've
are-
always
don't
been
wonder-
over, and they have to make all these moves. And I think finally they're realizing that's like, hey, let's get ahead of ourselves and sort of solve these things to begin with.
It's really no wonder why Kevin James quizzed their coach. And that's why I picked number 19. You can never have enough pass rushers, so I have them taking George Karlaftis. This is a guy who, in my opinion, is rightfully falling down because people were talking about, I think in our last mock draft, I had him at number 9.
I think we both had him in
He's
the
rightfully
top 10,
falling
yeah.
down the boards. Is because his production in college wasn't that great. There are many excuses for that, but I like him. I like his potential, but he does not deserve to be a top 15 pick. Him at 19, though, that's exactly where he deserves to be. So I think they'll take him, pair him up with Peyton Turner, Marcus Davenport, Karlaftis. All of a sudden, he got a pretty good pass rush.
Yeah, I think the unfortunate sliding for George Karlaftis is because of the rise of the Trayvon Walker. That's why we're seeing this right there.
Yeah, that's hurting him big time. Which makes no sense because Karlaftis is an edge rusher and Walker is it's just, I don't get this Walker thing, man. I don't get it.
Well, it's just like
either-
episode 9. A lot of people didn't get it.
Either I'm going to look like a genius years from now for saying this Trayvon Walker thing is just a scam, or I'm going to look like an idiot. But either way, I'll own it.
There you go. There you go. But yeah, I think, I already mentioned it, but Charles Cross at 16, if he's there, excellent pick. You need to get an upgrade for Teron Armstead, protect your quarterback, whoever it is, was Jameis Winston, or if they decide to go in this draft and draft a quarterback, that's still a possibility out there. And then, at 19, just getting some younger, affordable
19, they
option
could go
here
corner, safety, edge rusher, another offensive lineman, double dip there.
Yeah.
Receiver. So thank you sorry to interrupt you, but I thought about going receiver here. Michael Thomas is still on that roster until he gets moved. I'm banking on the fact that he will have one more very contentious season with the Saints, and then next offseason he's gone.
Yeah, but you can still use some depth behind him because without Michael Thomas, that passing game was, I know they had issues at quarterback too, but just there was nobody to throw to even if you had a quarterback. It was pretty dire there. So, yeah, you need a guy possibly, not at 19, but definitely in the second round you need to address it, or later in the draft you need to get some guys to support that there.
Other than Michael Thomas, name 3 of the Saints wide receivers. I have their depth chart up right now.
I think they've re-signed Traquan Smith, so, he's back.
He's there. Mm-hmm.
Besides that, I'm kind of lost. I'm thinking of older guys like, Tommy Lee Lewis was, I think, on the team back then.
He's gone.
They had Brandon Cooks, obviously, a long time
ago. If you say Marquise Colston, I'm going to be so happy.
I wanted to. Those are the names I think of. I can't think of anybody else
Robert
right
Meacham.
now. Robert Meacham. There's a throwback name.
Jeremy Shockey's still around, right?
How about I just go all the way back and say Joe Hoare?
All right, you ready? I'll go through this quickly.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Michael Thomas, Marquise Callaway, Traquan Smith, Deontay Hardy. This is a guy from Texas. I love this name. Lil Jordan Humphrey.
Oh, yes.
I honestly wonder if this is this guy, like the same one. Kevin White. You
Yes,
think
it
that's the
is
Bears
that
Kevin White?
It is that
Is
Kevin
that?
White.
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
He was with the Niners for a little bit. It didn't work out there. And, now he has caught on with the Saints. But, yes, it is that Kevin White.
Saints need a receiver.
Yes, they do. So at 19, if they go receiver, I wouldn't fault them. I think they could use some guy.
No, after reading that, not at all.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. So here's sort of the fun here. Like I said, we sort of had the Saints, and then I had the Eagles next. Well, there's a reason we were sort of joking around with this as sort of the interesting picks that we have here. Look at that. George Karlaftis shows up again.
Is that hold on. Go back to the last graphic. Yeah, same picture.
Yep, same exact picture.
Yep, there we go.
Save some work, man.
Hey, man.
No need to reinvent the wheel here.
Preaching to the choir here.
But yeah, let's first obviously talk about number 15. So, I mean, the Eagles are going to roll with Jalen Hurts here for another season. And, very similar to the Saints, they didn't have a lot of production from the wide receiver position outside of Davante Smith, obviously. So they definitely need to supplement Jalen Hurts with some wide receiver options. They got Dallas Goedert at the tight end position, obviously, but like I said, still needs some playmaking weapons on the outside. So that's why I'm thinking at number 15, they go with the wide receiver, Chris Olave. Originally, when they had 3 of their picks, I would have seen them gone 2 defensive and 1 offensive. Or honestly, they might have gone all defensive too, but they signed a really promising linebacker from the LA Chargers, Kaiser White. Hopefully he could replicate the season that he had last year, and then he could do that with the Eagles. So they got some production there. So that's why I didn't think they'd go Devin Lloyd or Nakobe Dean, which I was originally thinking. But I think they go receiver here at number 15, Chris Olave. Really pair him up with Davante Smith. Excellent wide receiver options there. And then, yeah, kind of we already talked about it. At number 18, they need some pass rush to pair up with some of their aging guys. Derek Barnett's getting older. Fletcher Cox is getting older. Josh Sweat, I mean, he's okay, I guess, maybe. We'll see about that.
I cannot believe that contract he got.
So we'll see about that. But George Karlaftis, I have him at 18. Tad clearly has him at 19, so he's going to go somewhere around here. But I think either team that he goes to, it's an excellent fit there because, yeah, he's sort of one of those all-around guys. He actually plays very similar to another NFC East former defensive end / linebacker edge rusher, Ryan Kerrigan. I'm seeing a lot of comparisons to him. I see that very much with George Karlaftis as well.
Did he also go to Purdue?
No, I think he went somewhere else. I don't think it was Purdue.
All right, I'll look it up. You keep talking.
But he actually is. I don't know if he's still with the Eagles, but he was formerly with the Eagles. Obviously, he played a lot of his time with Washington. But yeah, I see George Karlaftis sort of fitting that same mold. I think he could be an all-around defender for them. He could drop into coverage if you need to. But yeah, excellent pass rusher. Can also stop the run as well.
Ryan Kerrigan, Purdue defensive end, 2007-2010.
Nice. Okay. I had no idea, but that's good.
I know my useless draft knowledge.
There you go. All right, Ted, let's wrap this up. We got 2 more teams here. You got a interesting pick here, a team that has 2 first-round picks now because they traded a prize receiver. And then I have a team that has 2 first-round picks because they traded a prize receiver. Yours is, of course, the Packers with Davante Adams, and I have the Chiefs with Tyreek Hill. Let's get into the Packers here.
So, like Amir said earlier, I was not allowed to project trades here because I really wanted to project a trade.
Right.
So I'm keeping it the Packers' original pick. So if they stay put, which I don't think they are, I really, really, really do believe they are going to combine these 2 picks to trade up for, like we talked about, an Olave, a Wilson, at London. One of these guys is going to fall. Whoever's going to fall, they're going to go get. That's what I'm convinced is going to happen. If you want a preview of who my bet is on the receiver they're going to land, check out our mock draft coming out next week, but we'll get into that later. For now, let's go with their original 2 picks. I mean, they got to go receiver, right? And I actually really like this pick because I don't love this receiver, but I think if he goes to the right team, he could do really well. That's Treylon Burks at number 28. That's obviously the flashier move, so we're going to talk about that one first. So it's Randall Cobb, basically. It's Randall Cobb. You're just doing that all over again. The Packers love their short slants. They love the screen passes. Treylon Burks fits that perfectly. Amir, double or nothing after the Saints won. Tell me the name of the Packers starting right guard.
Right guard, I have no idea because they had Billy Turner. I think he signed with Denver, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I'm out on Packers linemen. Because lots of the guys I can name are no longer on the team. Like I can say Corey Linsley, he's not on the team anymore. I can say J.C. Treader, he's not on the team anymore.
He hasn't been on the team in like years.
I know. So I can say Brian Bulaga, he's not on the team anymore. So it's
Jesus
just like
Christ.
I think of all these older guys. I cannot
play
name
Madden
any current
12.
guys right now. I could probably say David Bakhtiari, but he plays tackle, so it's like that doesn't help
Right, so
me either.
he's their starting left tackle. Now, here's the deal with the Packers.
I have no idea about guards.
Elgton Jenkins is their current right tackle.
Okay.
Here's the problem. Like 90% of his career, he's been a guard.
Mm-hmm.
So their current starting right guard is Royce Newman. He was a 4th-round pick in last year's draft.
That's not good.
No, it's really not. So they need to get Jenkins back inside, and they need to find someone to replace him on the outside. That's Trevor Penning right here. I love this guy. I've been singing his praise since the Senior Bowl. I love him. I think he's going to be a day one starter. He reminds me a lot of Quinn Miners, of like a small school guy who's skyrocketed up the boards. So, yes, 100%. Take him. You can stick him at right tackle, a position that, while tough for a rookie, doesn't have all the pressure that left tackle has. So you stick him there. You move Jenkins back inside at right guard. All of a sudden, it's kind of like the Chiefs did last year. Your offensive line went from pretty crap to not so bad like that. So, Trevor Penning, Traylon Burks, if the Packers stay put with these 2 picks, that's a pretty good 1-2 duo right there.
Yeah, Trevor Penning to upgrade that offensive line. Definitely, with the limited years that Rodgers has, I don't know how much longer he's going to play there. So you got to give him the best chance to
forever.
sort of compete again. So yeah, Penning is an excellent pick there. And yeah, Traylon Burks. I wouldn't say Randall Cobb because I don't think Traylon Burks is as fast as Randall Cobb was when he was coming out of college.
How many people are as fast as Randall Cobb?
No, that's fair, but it's just like I like the explosiveness and I like the versatility that Traylon Burks has, and that's definitely what this Packers offense needs with the loss of Davante Adams and the question marks at all the other receiver positions. Like, I know you have Aaron Jones, but yeah, having another guy like Traylon Burks on your roster can really make this team competitive again with Aaron Rodgers at the helm. So, yep, excellent picks here. Obviously, yeah, I could see them possibly trading up to get a better receiver, not taking both these picks here, but yeah, at staying at where they are. Excellent picks here. So I'm going to close things out with the Kansas City Chiefs. They have back-to-back picks at 29 and 30. I think they need to go defense because, their offense is pretty set. I know they lost Tyreek Hill, but they just replaced speed with other speed. They got Juju Smith-Schuster. They signed Marquez Valdez-Scantling. This guy signed Corey Coleman. They have Josh Gordon on the roster. So it's like, they'll be fine. They also
Josh Gordon is still on the roster?
Yes, he is. They also have all these other guys that are like smaller names, but they've become better names with Kansas City. You got your McCole Hardman. You got Byron Pringle is on the roster. So like these guys can be utilized a little bit more too. So
real quick question: best flavor of Pringles?
Sour cream and onion, easily.
Attaboy. That's the right answer right there.
So I don't think they're going to miss Tyreek Hill as much. So that's why I think they need to address the defense. The offense is going to be just fine, with the loss of, well, it's not a confirmed loss, but most likely he's not going to resign. Tyrann Mathieu is not going to be in the back of that secondary. Daniel Sorensen signed elsewhere. They have Juan Thornhill as a pretty good safety, but I think they can use that upgrade. I know they signed Justin Reed away from the Houston Texans, which is a good signing, but you pair up a guy like Daxton Hill with Justin Reed, oh man, that's a dangerous back end right there.
Thornhill, Hill, and Justin Reed, like that is ridiculous, especially because you got to remember how stacked this division is now.
I was actually just about to get to that. The AFC West is so competitive that it's like, yeah, you need that back end help.
Just put all the safeties in.
Exactly. And then also at number 30, just following up that pick, I think you definitely need to upgrade the pass rush as well. The Kansas City Chiefs were 4th worst in the NFL last year at getting sacks, so they definitely need to upgrade there. I think they go Boye Mafe, the edge rusher. A lot of people are comparing him to Frank Clark, who is currently on the Chiefs. So, hey, why not learn from the guy that you're being compared to? I think that's a fit right there. So I think he could come in, be a good rotational piece for them instantly from day one, and be a good pass rush. As once again, a stacked AFC West, a stacked AFC. The season's going to be pretty crazy with all the competitiveness that we're going to see on the AFC side, NFC side as well. But just, yeah, adding Boye Mafe, Daxton Hill, this defense is going to get a little bit more respectability. They were trending up, but then they started to trend down. That's part of the reason why the Chiefs started to struggle last year. So I think this gives them a little bit more of an edge on defense as well to keep up with that offense. So those are all the picks that we wanted to get to.
Real quick, you know what this duo would be called after this graphic, right? Eminem.
I should have seen that one. I should have seen it.
That was so bad. I'm so sorry.
Oh my gosh. It is late for you, buddy.
I had to do it.
But yeah, those are all the teams with multiple first-round picks. Those are just some ideas that me and Tad think some of these teams will go in as far as taking those selections, if they stay there, and making those selections to make their teams a lot better. So we'll see how it plays out. But yeah, as mentioned, we covered a different draft strategy episode in our podcast episode last week where we covered teams without first-round picks, and we gave some layouts as far as strategies.
Including both of our favorite teams.
Exactly. We had an interesting exercise where we swapped teams, and we had some fun there. So make sure you check out that episode as well. And hey, best way you can always find out about when the latest and greatest is happening from the Decide Guys Football Forum. We got the ticker down below. Follow us at all of our different handles. We got, my personal handle, I'm Decide23 on Twitter. You got Tad's at TadDecide94. You got the show handle, The Decide Guys. We're on Instagram now. It's a new account, so make sure you follow us there, The Decide Guys as well. And hey, if you're listening to the podcast, just hit subscribe wherever you're listening to it. So, we're listening on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, right on the LAFB Network website, Stitcher. I mean, there's a ton of podcast platforms, where you can listen to podcasts and just hit that subscribe button. Always be up to date with when the latest episodes are dropping. And then, we haven't done a YouTube episode in a while, but hey, if you hit subscribe, you would have known that we're doing an episode today. So, hey, make sure you subscribe right on the LAFB Network's YouTube channel. We have our own individual playlist. But yeah, subscribe there so you're always up to date when all those episodes are dropping. And hey, we got some fun stuff planned with the YouTube channel coming up this week and a little bit of next week. Like sort of like in fringe there. It's going to happen possibly over the weekend for us. But hey, we're going to have a double dose of mock draft action, Tad. Why don't you tell the folks about it?
All right. So if you've been a long-time listener of the LAFB network, and this means you're a long-time listener because I believe last time we did this, we were Sports Al Dente.
It was the 2018 draft. Yeah, so this is quite a bit ago.
Yeah. Me and Amir, we have made the effort. We have collected some of the best writers, some of the best podcasters that LAFB has, including CEO Ryan Dyrud. He's going to be a part of this. We are doing a full first-round mock draft that includes trades, that includes, live analysis and all of this. So we are dropping that before the draft. I won't say when, because again, if you want to know when, you got to hit that subscribe button, so then you'll know when. But it's super exciting. So to give you guys a funny little quick backstory on this, the last time we did this, I was the Colts. I traded up from 24 to 4 to try to get Saquon Barkley. That's how crazy this gets. So if you guys want just the absolute fan dream of if I was a GM, how would I handle this? That is what we try to do here. So we have a full first round mock draft with 10 people including us?
I think it's about 8 or so, but yeah, we have some people that drop in. So yeah, it could somewhere be 8 to 10, somewhere around there.
So there you go. And actually after this call, me and Amir are discussing a trade for that exact mock draft. So trust me, we take this very, very seriously, or at least I do. So we have that coming up. And then next week, the days, and I'm not even kidding, 2 days, and then the day before the draft, Amir and I are dropping our final mock draft. So and we're going to drop that on a podcast, and we're also going to drop that on our social media, the graphics as well. So like Amir said, our new Instagram account, our Twitter account, all that's going to be updated with our mock draft, because I've had a couple friends be like, hey, where's your mock draft? It's coming out in the next week, so be sure to keep your eyes peeled for that. It's exciting. God, I love this time of year. This is just great. Can just May never come? The only thing I'm looking forward to in May is Doctor Strange. That's it.
That's true. That's true. And Tad, I think you're forgetting another important thing that we're doing with the draft. We're going to be live streaming the first round of the draft. That is happening on Thursday, the 28th.
I mean, how important is the actual draft? It's just all the prep and stuff.
Me and Tad are definitely going to be there. We may have some guests from the LAFB Network crew as well. They'll stop in to give their thoughts. We did the live stream with Will and Jamal from the Draft is in Session podcast when we did the Senior Bowl. They may stop by. Ryan Dyrud, CEO of LAFB Network, may stop by. Stephen Haglund of the Chargers Unleashed podcast may stop by. I mean, those are just some of the names that are coming by, but we have more people that may stop by to talk about the draft. We're going to discuss everything that's happening. A little bit of a delay as it's happening, obviously. We can't do live reactions, but it should be a good time covering the first round of the draft for sure.
You guys are going to get Sopranos, Tad, where I promise you, at least 5 times I'm going to go, oh! That's an absolute promise. It's like me watching basketball.
Yeah, so it should be good times. But yeah, hey guys, I mean, we appreciate everybody that's supporting the podcast and all the YouTube stuff that we're doing and just anything and everything that we're doing, guys. I mean, just whether you're interacting with us on Twitter, whether you followed us on Instagram now, listening, watching, rating, I mean, anything and everything, guys. I mean, seriously, we just can't thank you enough.
Thanks for watching, guys.